everybody, welcome back to Retention Zone. I have a very interesting episode with Cyprien Castanedo, Head of Media, Platform and Innovation at, I would say, Ligue 1, LFP Media.
LFP Media, you can say both.
LFP Media. But Ligue, LFP is Ligue de Football Professionnel.
Exactly.
Okay. Hi, Cyprien.
Hi, Carlo. Nice to see you. How are you doing?
And you're in Paris, I can imagine?
Yeah, in Paris at the office.
Okay, so why am I talking of retention in streaming to someone from a league? By the way, the night after the Premier League announced they're doing a test either to consumer in Singapore.
Good timing for the episode.
We knew it before, and then we decided to record the day after, correct?
Exactly.
So, but let's quickly tell me the story that now I think everybody knows, but a quick summary of what happened and why we are talking today of direct to consumer with you.
Yeah, exactly. So I think just to sum it up, we had a very interesting year in terms of launching the OTT platform domestically during the summer, following the, I would say, interesting year that we had last year with DAZN, the many problems that we faced, the decision that was taken at the end of the season to go out of the DAZN contract. And I think the 2 months that we had before the vote of the club's president at the end of May and the beginning of the season, mid-August. So yeah, we had a very intense summer and we have like 6 months now into the project. So I think a lot of interesting insight to share.
And just to be clear, the platform was already live in the UK only, or?
Yeah, exactly. UK and Ireland. So we had the same core platform for international markets. Obviously, not at the same level of ambition, features, and everything. But I think that was also really key in the 2 months to not start from scratch and to be able to pivot from an international to a global perspective.
And so let's start from the beginning. Acquisition. Whenever you launch, that day you had, apart the internal people that you may have included, you had 0 subscriber, which is a great place to start, but a scary place. So even if this is called Retention Zone, so we're not talking about acquisition, but I think in this case, let's talk about the acquisition phase.
No, I think, as you were saying, this is the beginning. So we were at a moment where we needed to, I would say, regain the trust of the football fans in France. There were like many shifts, many changes in the broadcast deals in the past years. Also, I would say some discussion around pricing and everything. So the main target when we launched the project in May was how we gain like the core subscribers in the first months. Because I think to your point, we had 0 subscribers, but we knew that we had like a huge potential of people that were ready to pay for football. So I would say the number one factor was how do you make a tailor-made offer in terms of the pricing. We had a very aggressive pricing strategy because we wanted to regain the trust, create a bond with the fans. And then, as you can imagine, a very ambitious marketing plan, digital billboards. Like you could walk in Paris 5 minutes. If you didn't see like any Ligue 1 ads, it was a problem. So I think like we were really strong at the start and the results followed. So very good thing to start with.
And one thing that normally it's more nuanced. So somehow the content, even if then in detail, you maybe did some content strategy, I'm sure. So, but basically everybody knows who Ligue 1 is. Everybody knows that more or less the content that is available. So if your messaging was, obviously it's a different situation, but and again, I was a chief product officer for many years, so we can talk a bit product, which I love. The product side was important. So yes, we understand. Now we have to go to LFP Media, Ligue 1 Plus for this. But okay, then it's onboarding, frictionless payment. So talk a bit about the product side of this initial phase.
I think on the product side, I think there are like 2 parts of it. The first one, and I think it's one of the very interesting perspective on the project, is that Ligue 1 Plus as a product and project is not just an OTT platform. We had the experience of previous broadcaster with DAZN that maybe focused too much about D2C, OTT, like the fact that everybody is now a digital native. So what we decided to do is a more hybrid approach where Ligue 1 Plus exists on an OTT basis, but also as a linear channel that can be like accessible everywhere, like all the 4 major telcos in France. We have partnership with DAZN, with Prime Video, with L'Equipe, with OneFootball, other like I would say small distributors. So I think on the product, and I know like it's not the platform itself, but on the Ligue 1 Plus product, from the start, we try to have a different approach to be like everywhere. And we had the ambition of, okay, I'm during the summer, I hear about this new Ligue 1 Plus platform. No matter who, like with my setup box, a distributor and so on, I can find it. So I think that was like kind of a product number 1 piece. And then if you like focus on the OTT side, obviously we had like an ambition of showing something different compared to what we had in the previous years. And I think the key was in the messaging that this is now like the club's channel. Like this is not a new distributor. This is the platform of the league, of Ligue 1. And I think in terms of products, it shows in many ways. We have like archive content. We have like some best of previous players. We try to have an offer that's like tailor-made for Ligue 1 fans, so that they understand it's not just another broadcaster that bought the rights and that is packaging it with other sports. This is a different approach, and we wanted it to be editorial, product, and distribution.
And the non, if you want, content part of the product. So the onboarding, the payment, the subscription, those screens that you normally go through once, you want them to work easy. How was it important to keep? So because the trust is also, I'm paying for, forget the content. I love the content. I want to watch the matches, but then I want to buy something that works. It's like a car. I buy a car. I want that the wheels are always there. Obviously, the video streamed properly. We learned it in the past, but also everything else that I'm giving you my money. You know how to manage that, etc. How was that important in the product?
I think you're right, because the challenge was also, I think the content part, we knew how to do it, but then the product was very new. So I think the 3 main elements were first to make a seamless workflow in terms of discovering the platforms, entering the platform, creating an account, and so on. And on that, we had some experiments. We had like the first element that was like, with your favorite club. So we tried to put it. Then we were like, okay, this is one more step. What happens if we remove it? Maybe we have some better conversion rates and so on. So we had some like A/B testing. Also on the payment flow. Okay, like is there going to be any frictions? Other people are going to put it in the basket and then like not pay for it. So we had many experiments. I would say we're still in the middle of the learning curve, where like with 6 months, we're starting to have enough data to say, okay, maybe for season 2, we're going to change some bits. And then I think when you're entering the platform itself, to have a seamless navigation, to be able to find some nice feature. We have a partnership with Ligue that is doing like the stats overlay on the player. So I would say it's just the beginning for the platform. So we try to make it as seamless as possible. But as you can imagine, and you come from the product world, we have many ideas that we want to implement in the future.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that especially finding content, because if you do a live sport, like football in this case, platform, there is a big issue. When nothing is live, you have links or promos of matches that will happen. So you basically, unless you obviously, this is starting from the stupid level. You have nothing for most of the time. So the discovery part, the UX part is super crucial.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one choice that was made also on our side is like to have a 24/7 live channel that, like, let's be honest, during the night, it's mostly like replays or like archive games and so on. But we tried also to put some kind of differentiate content. Typically, we have Ligue 1, which is the EAFC competition in Ligue 1 that we're putting like every Wednesday and every Thursday, so that at least when someone is entering the platform, he doesn't have this feeling of, okay, there is nothing until like Friday or Saturday. So with small bits, obviously, most of the people are here for the live and will focus on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But with small elements, some documentaries, some notification, we are, I would say, step by step, getting the people to know the platform a bit more as a global offering and not just like I plug the TV for like the Sunday game.
Yeah, makes sense. And okay, let's focus now on retention. Obviously, when you start from zero, in theory, you're not thinking retention because I have no one to retain. But I think it kind of demonstrated in the books that if you don't start thinking retention at the beginning, then you will be in trouble very soon because almost everything impacts the fact that someone retains. And again, this is like prime content. It's the league. So there are good reasons for people to stay, but still we see that retention or churn is one of the main issue of profitability for any platform, regardless of the content. So
tell
me that story there.
No, I think you're right. I think it's funny as like at the beginning of the season, we were a bit in the, as you were saying, like the perspective of, okay, how do we do subscribers? And it was the number one priority. And churn was important, but it was exactly what you said, like we're going to see later. Now, like we're a bit more than half into the season. So we are like in the middle of, okay, how do we keep people on the platform? And I think to that, there are many ways to do it. I think the CRM strategy and the way we communicate with the fans like is definitely a key. I think in Ligue 1, we see a lot like our subscriber flows, maybe as other leagues, but goes a lot with like the big games. So obviously we see trends of a lot of people coming to the platform to watch like PSG against OM, PSG against Lyon, like Lille against Lens, those kind of the big matches. And then our CRM strategy is really to, once they're hooked, you send them newsletter, you keep them like in the flow of the new games, the new content. We have some mechanism also about like, okay, the guy is going to churn, okay, retention offer. So we have some bits of, I would say, different strategy about retention. But I think what's important is really like we're in like late February, we are starting to have some data. How do we compound that every week, and how do we adapt the flow? And on that, honestly, I think we still have a lot to learn, but that's also like the exciting part.
No, absolutely. And how do you think data are important? Because obviously you need the sensor in the platform to give you the data. But then very often I think we normally, and again, I have to mention AI, sorry. But with AI, there will be a lot of help because in the past we have so much data. Well, so when we started to have so much data in the past, then we didn't have the insights, we didn't have the tools or the manpower to really not only get the best information from the data, but even then take action, which is the second step.
Exactly. No, I think you're right. Honestly, what we're experiencing is that we're seeing like now the data that is coming, and we're doing the analysis. So we take some actions, as you were saying, like some retention offers when someone is churning, or like pushing some information about the newcomers to say, okay, go take a look at the platform as a whole. But I think if I have to anticipate a bit what's going to happen, obviously AI, like that's not a bad word. AI is going to play a key role in this. You see in the industry all the analysis and the anticipation that AI can get you. Like, okay, this guy only watched 2 contents in the past 2 weeks. Like, he's 60% going to churn in the next 2 weeks. So this is some bits that we would like to implement to the platform, because you need some manpower, you need people to analyze the AI, obviously, but I think the technological help that we're going to get with those tools is going to be key in the strategy.
And sorry, being football, and I'm talking as a Torino fan, we are 15 in the league. We just changed the coach. So, someone told me, Tom, my friend Tom Barrell told me there are the moments of truth when you decide to churn. In
Yep.
football, it could be because your team is so bad that as a way of protesting, you are canceling the subscription and LFP Media has nothing to do with it. But I
Yeah.
think, how do you take these insights and data that work for every streaming service or every D2C service and then apply to the if you want, the football intelligence that maybe you as an organization have more than others, right?
Yeah. No, I think that's an important point. We experience it also on our side with like some clubs that are like the key drivers in terms of subscriptions, like no secret, PSG, Marseille, Lyon. But then you see the sports trajectory, and for example, Marseille that is struggling a bit more, like that change coach with the Zerbi leaving and
Yep.
Abi coming. Those are the sport elements, and you as a league, you're trying to I would say balance it with your strategy. So for example, Marseille being like um, not in the run for champion but now in the run for Champions League, with like this Sunday the big Lyon against Marseille game. I think you need to readapt the strategy and say, okay, I see the OM fans, they are likely to churn because like the season is not going so well. So how do I get new narratives? Okay, this is kind of the last big game for Marseille. They need to win. And then in terms of the communication, like aggressive CRM strategy, some notification directly into the app, so that you create a storytelling, no matter if it's for the title, for the Champions League, relegation, but at least you keep the flow of fans that are going to say, okay, I'm not going to churn because there is one last game, or there is one last element, or there is like the
Mm-mm-mm.
multiplex. The two last match rounds in Ligue 1 are playing simultaneously.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you have
yeah, yeah.
all the 9 games at the same time. So this creates a lot also of dynamism. Um, so I think it's a mix, obviously, of the technology, like the tools that you're using, CRM, strat data, and so on, and then also how you create storytelling hooks to link those two.
And in terms of the tooling, no, so if you, after this experience that you had for these few months, to be honest, because again,
Yeah.
I did something on the Premier League's news, and one of the things I wrote is the first year is more for lesson learning than counting the subscriber, even if it's partially true. But for sure,
Exactly.
it's also, I would say, it's also
Also,
for learning lessons.
depends on who you're talking to.
Absolutely. But so if you imagine going forward, what are if you want, the key elements that you would focus on in terms of the subscription engine, the subscription management, both retention and everything? So what are the three top focus you would have if you think, okay, I have all the money in the world, I want to do something for the future that is what my ambition is, if you want.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting part because we're working on the season 2 of the platform, and we have many ideas to change exactly what you're talking about, like subscription flow and everything. So my key ideas are also the one we're working on. I would say number one is, I would say, the discovery path of the platform. So like if I had like unlimited budget, the ability of clicking into a link, like the League One Plus link, and having a platform that's directly adapted to who I am. Like if I'm not a subscriber, to have like the promo offers, to have a discovery homepage, so that I can get a clear idea of, okay, this is League One Plus, these are the games that I have, and so on. But if I'm a OM subscriber, like my homepage is different. And if I'm just a OM, but I'm not a subscriber, but I already have an account, to have like OM overlay, but with some like discovery offer and so on. So I would say this dynamic about I'm entering the platform and it's adapted to my customer profile. Then the second element is on the subscription flow itself. I would say to have a full flexibility and A/B testing, because what we're currently experiencing is that with the current platform that we have, we're a bit stuck in terms of what we can create on the subscription path, which means it's good to have the data. Like we know how many people are entering the platform, how many people are like getting to the checkout, and how many people are leaving before. But we have no real leverage to change things and to see if there is some improvement or not. So I would say having A/B testing is really important because it gives you the flexibility to try new things. And the third one, like really on the core payment element, is to have like a provider or a technical solution that can be adapted in terms of the payment they're using. To give you a precise example, when we're looking at our, let's say, technical churn, let's call it that way, like the people that are
absolutely.
leaving, that are leaving, but like it's not their choice to leave. I think we see some rates of people like, okay, banking details were not approved, or like the payment was made from another country and so on. And those bits needs to be adapted like instantaneously. Okay, I changed the location of the banking account so that I get 1 or 2% more in terms of the subscription rate and so on. And I think if you combine the small percentage that you can get with the flexibility that some tools can offer, like you get from a poor ratio in terms of churn to a good one. And if you compound that during 1 season, 2 season, like it changes everything.
Yeah. Unintentional churn is not. It's very technical. It's very nerdy, but it's crucial. And one end on and on the AI side, one thing that I'm trying to also make up my mind is, imagine you can have the best AI tool that tells you, okay, this segment is doing the, and maybe suggests, what is happening. So it not only you can go there and maybe chat and understand what's going on, but it also alerts you on what's going on, which is fine.
Yeah.
Would you trust this engine with agents and everything to also take action automatically at this moment? Because if I ask in a year, is a different answer.
No, I think that's a good question. I think I would do it like definitely in 2 steps. The first one with the AI being kind of the advisor for the strategy, like saying, okay, like I looked at the data, you've got some problem with your retention offer because either it's not appealing enough or it's too appealing and then everybody's churning just to get the retention offer. So I would say the first step would be I'm getting the insight from the AI and then I'm taking human action just as a safety net. And then like, let's be honest, we see the progress of AI, like if not weekly, at least monthly. So I would say, obviously in the next month or year, they will be like way more capable than us to understanding what they need to do. The only, I would say, small bits that I would try to be cautious about is giving the AI too much flexibility, because if you do so, I think you can you can lose a bit the customers, because if AI have total flexibility, they might be offering different pricing in terms of the retention offer, and then to be too custom, and then you open the door to people saying like, why is my friend getting like 20% whereas I'm just getting like 15? So that's the tricky part also to manage.
Yeah, because even with AI, social media always exists, and nothing is private, basically.
Exactly.
No customer service communication or fan relation is private. This is something
One bad comment from a journalist or
Exactly. So that's great. And in terms of, so let's talk a bit less tech and talk just for a moment about humans in the organization. So you were, I try trivialize it a bit. You were a B2B organization that now has to learn to be direct to consumer. How is that change in terms of the organization, the upskilling or whatever that happened inside the team?
I think like this is a complete change. Let's be honest. We went from B2B to a B2C company, but also in just 2 months. So it means that all the different departments needed to rethink a bit how they were thinking. I think this is maybe the number one success element on the project, apart from the number of subscribers and so on, but the agility that LFP Media and Ligue 1 Plus was able to demonstrate in those weeks where, okay, we switch from B2B to, okay, what is the marketing strategy? And not just in terms of brand awareness, which was more the case when we were just like a league, but to get some subscribers. And this is like, how do you learn e-commerce? How do you learn like direct to consumer marketing? How do you change a bit the CRM strategy to talk directly to some subscribers and not some fans on social media? So I think the whole organization needed to shift a bit into this project. And I think it was maybe like the number one key success factor. And then obviously it's also like an evolving process. We're getting more information weeks by weeks. We have some people that are like joining the team to help us on this. We rely a lot on like third parties that are helping us. So complete shift in the organization. But I think if you put 10 scenarios about what could go wrong or right in this situation, we're definitely, I would say, in the top three.
Good. No, good. One last thing is, I wanted to ask what you would advise other leagues to do. For years, I was telling leagues that they should find an excuse to launch a small version, which is what the Premier League is doing now.
Exactly.
But putting your feet in the water for when you don't risk too much. So you learn and then you're ready when you need it or where you need it. But anything that you think it's reflecting back is something that other leagues can use.
No, I think number one element is definitely like like let's just launch a small project that runs like side by side with your traditional broadcast offering, just in case of. Like I think the French market is a very good example. We had a similar situation a couple of years ago with Media Pro that launched like their service, and that was like over like 3 months into the season. And back at the time, we had no alternative. And then again with DAZN, and we launched our own D2C service. So I think when you look at what the Premier League is doing, or what like the Belgium League is experiencing with DAZN also, um, having the technical infrastructure to, okay, just in case of I have something, or I experiment in some like dark market situations just to get the learning and get the ball rolling. So I'd say that's number one. And maybe number two, more focused on our current situation. I would say depends on the countries, obviously, but on the, I would say, European countries, to not put all the eggs in the same basket in terms of everybody's OTT. I think that's a bit like a bit paradoxical in the industry, because OTT is like the new trend. We see like the big players, US big players that are like investing a lot in sports. But in some countries, I think France, I think Belgium, I think Italy, you cannot exist if you don't have like a strong bond with the local players, the telco operators, some of the distributors, and so on. And I think that was also like a key factor in the success of Ligue 1 Plus, is that we identified like the specificities of the French market. We launched the OTT because we are convinced that this is a new way of broadcasting that will continue to grow. But we are not like letting the other behind in terms of, okay, I just want a linear channel on my TV.
Absolutely. And the last question, is there I can imagine, but I want to ask because honestly, maybe it's not so obvious. Is there a metric that you watch every day of the platform?
Churn and subscriptions. No, I would say like we're not very original in terms of what we're looking at. Obviously, the subscriptions, the churn. Maybe an important thing on our model is the engagement rate, because what's important to understand is that because we went from B2B to B2C, it meant that at the end of the day, we're still a league, and all the revenues that we're doing, we're giving it to the clubs. So the more we can get people that are committed for 12 months, the more visibility we can give to the clubs in terms of what they're actually going to make in terms of money. So we're not only looking at, okay, this is the number of subscribers, this is the number of sales, but the more we can get people to commit for a longer term, the more also we gain some stability with the clubs.
Absolutely. So a fascinating project, and I'm sure it has been tough, but also professionally super rewarding in terms of what you learn.
Obviously.
Launching I'm a bit 3 years. I'm not really launching products, if not my whatever content formats, and I'm a bit envious of people working still launching real products.
Yeah, honestly, it's a real challenge. No vacation this summer, as you can imagine, but like seeing the project that is launching, having a great success, but also seeing like all the challenges and the things that you can like do better. I think that's the interesting part, and like everybody's really happy with the season 2 coming about product, content, strategy. So looking forward to it.
And as a product person, that's what the part that fascinated me always the most. A lot of fights because we always were with OTT that had different parties. So I had to convince a lot of people. But bringing what we called at the time marketable features that give value to fans and give value to the project itself is possibly the part that I love the most in that scenario, to be honest.
Exactly. And I think what's interesting also is that we had like 2 months to launch the platform, so we stick to like the ground principles. But now we have also thinking about the Ligue 1 ecosystem as a whole. We have like a fantasy app, Mon Petit Gazon.
Yep.
We have like some like our own app and so on. And we're also in a phase where we're trying to connect the dots. And I think that's also the exciting part. The product Ligue 1 Plus as a streaming platform, but also like all the Ligue 1 products as a whole. And this is just the beginning, I think, on that.
Oh, grazie, Cyprien. It was a very engaging discussion, and good luck for everything you're doing then at LFP Media. Grazie. Ciao.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.